Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. A while back, my buddy Jeremy hollered at me and said he had picked up a bunch of 67 to 72 C10 parts that he didn't really need, and he knows that I buy, sell, and trade a bunch of junk every year, so he said, hey, make you a deal. If you can go through and sell all this stuff for me, I'll give you half the profit. And I said, oh, you got a deal. Now what I've got left is an original set of 68 to 72 Okra or Orch doors. Now these things are in excellent condition, but they present pretty poorly because somebody's gone through and primered and spray painted over this original yellow paint. So in today's video, I'm going to go through and show you guys the best way, or probably not the best way, but a way that I've used time and time again to clean up this old original paint to make it look like new or newish. How about look better than it does right now? Yeah. So over the last few years, I have sold a ton of used C10 parts, and I've got a lot of repeat customers because I take pride in the parts that I sell. Like these doors, I could list them today and get them sold, but if I put 2 or 3 more hours into it, getting all this primer and spray paint off and maybe running the buffing wheel over the top of that original Okra paint, I could probably double my money. Now most guys would just go through and grab chemicals like lacquer or paint thinner and some steel wool and just go to town, which would probably work. But you gotta be careful if you're trying to preserve that original paint, that single stage paint underneath, that it doesn't start lifting when you're using all these chemicals. So we'll go through and test some of these out, and then I'll go through and show you what works for me every time for just a couple bucks. So if we start off first with chemicals, I've got some mineral spirits, some lacquer thinner, I've got some paint thinner, which is similar to mineral spirits, even a little WD-40, and to try to scrub it off, I've got some very fine Scotch-Brite and some Quad Zero steel wool. Now to first begin doing this, you want to find a spot, an inconspicuous spot. So if you have anything on the inside of the door or somewhere that's not going to be ruined if some of this paint does lift off, that's where I would start. So the first thing I recommend is getting a respirator, a mask, or at least rubber gloves to keep all these chemicals from getting on you. I'm not going to do that because I don't have any brain cells left, and it's hard for me to work the camera with gloves on. So I'm first going to grab just a little bit of Quad Zero and go through with some mineral spirits. Just going to go through and douse this steel wool down with that, and we'll see how this starts coming off. I've got some rags here too. Well, that's not. It's not really doing much. It's taking a little off, but I might be here for 2 months. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's the mineral spirits. We'll try a little bit of the paint thinner next and see if that's any better. Okay, so next we've got paint thinner, so we'll see if that does any better than the mineral spirits here. Ooh. Yeah, wax on, wax off. That's starting to come off. Well, that's, lose your fingertips, but it's starting to come off. Not very good, but better than the mineral spirits. But that's still going to take 2 years. Ugh. Yuck. All right, so next up is going to be lacquer thinner, and it's good stuff because it's completely rotted the bottom of my can out in the cabinet, and it reeks something terrible in there, so I put it in this glass jar because that'll be better than in the cabinet. Now I'm using Quad Zero with this because once I get this spray paint and primer stuff off of here, I don't want to be completely trashing the original paint, so that's why I'm not going very aggressive with the grit on this. So beep 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 beep. So this stuff it's coming off, but man, It is drying quick and it's sticky. I can feel that paint and primer coming off of there. But this is gonna be, I think I'm gonna have to get this off quicker. It's gonna stick bad, just get gummy. That worked all right. It doesn't look like it's really, well, actually, starting to turn the steel wool yellow, so I'm starting to take paint off, which I didn't want to do, but that came off much better than the mineral spirits and paint thinner so far. So try a little WD-40. Ooh. I don't know how people like drank moonshine back in the day, because I've smelled moonshine and tasted it, and it smells, and I'm not tasting this, but I bet it tastes pretty similar. So anywho, I'm gonna get a fresher piece of steel wool here, a little WD, water displacement 40, and let's try over here. That's starting to work too. Not great, but I mean, you're just gonna leave your door greasy as all get out when you're done. This stuff is drying fast though. That's already dry, and I haven't had to wipe any of it off, so. I'd say the WD-40 worked. It worked pretty good. I didn't pull any yellow. Yeah, okay, a teeny bit of yellow off, not as much as the lacquer thinner. That's really not too bad. Now, at all those things, I'd say lacquer, WD-40. It all comes in expense. You're gonna spend quite a bit of time on there, and then you gotta keep it wiped off pretty quick, or it's gonna gum up and stick on you there. So I'm gonna show you what I've been using for years, what works really good. Stole this from old Derek from Vice Grip Garage years ago, is using these soap-filled SOS pads. Now, same thing like the steel wool we're using here, but these are filled with soap. You can buy the name brand here. You can go to the Walmart and you can buy their knockoff versions of these. But I've been using this on old paint, and it's not very aggressive either, but I'm keeping it lubricated all the time with water. So I'm gonna go fill up a small bucket of water. We're gonna get some of these out. We're gonna try this out and see how these work. Alrighty, so I've gone through, filled me up a bucket partially full of just clean water, and I'm gonna get some of these SOS pads, or at least just one or part of one. And I just go through and get this saturated. Like I say, once we start going, that soap's gonna start oozing out of here. And I just still do it in circular motions. Remembering not to get too aggressive, because I am gonna need to polish this paint out when I'm done. But once it starts to dry a little bit, just get it wet again. But I can already, I mean, this is so much smoother already. And I don't know what it is about the soap, or what soap they use, but it's just coming right off. I mean, here, let's just wipe it real quick. Look at that already. Water and an SOS pad, but I don't know. This just works so well for some reason. But remember, you are putting micro scratches all over this paint. So when you're done, you are gonna have to polish or use some compound to clean this back up. But man, I'm just flying through this already. This is awesome. Bringing out the old paint, and I don't have any ochre on here right now either, so far so good. So I'm gonna put this in time lapse for a little bit, and we're gonna blast through this door and see if we can do it all on one or maybe two SOS pads. So I'm happy so far. All right, so I've been at this door for about 2-3 minutes so far. It's coming off pretty easy. You might just keep a rag if you don't have a rag or your garden hose close by. Just periodically go through and try to keep that soap from drying up on there, and then you can really see what you've got left. But man, that is looking pretty dang good, and it is so much smoother right here compared to all this grit. But we'll just go through and keep at this door. I probably got another 5 or 10 minutes. It's going to take me a little bit up there at the top of the doors, but man, this paint is so much smoother already. So let's keep going. Well, I'm not sure if you can tell from the camera which door I did, but it's this one right here. You know, there is a complete transformation with about $3 or $4 for a box of SOS pads, because, you know, if I listed this, I'd maybe get $75 out of it. By putting 10-20 minutes into it and maybe 30 after I polish it, I can probably sell this for 200, maybe more, because there's no rust on it. So it's incredible what you can do with just a little elbow grease. So we'll polish this baby up and we'll compare them at the end. All right, so I've got the door dried and prepped and ready for my Makita polisher. And for years I've been using Meguiar's Ultimate Compound and Ultimate Polish. It's very cheap and it works really well. I actually did a video a year or two back on it, on old Bluey, testing out how to bring the shine back on old paint. But it's been hard because here in Kansas with Mother Nature, all that sun beating down on it all the time, I just kind of want to try something else out. And I've been researching a company called Wizards. They've got the Turbo Cut and Mystic Cut and Polish. So if you guys have used that stuff in the purple jug and it's worked good for you, type down in the comments below, or if you have your favorite polish. I can't always afford the most expensive stuff, which I probably should, but I'm just looking what can make old single stage paint shine on a budget. So let me know what you guys use there. So we're gonna put the compound and then the polish and see how shiny we can get this old paint. So I've gone through and just made a pass or two with the Ultimate Compound so far, but you can see the bottom, how dull that paint is, and here towards the top where I hit it with the compound, I mean, it's shining. It looks like I clear coated it, and that's just with the compound. So we'll do another pass or two and then we'll switch over to the Ultimate Polish and see how shiny we can get this thing. Well, I won't lie, this turned out way better than I thought it was going to, using, you know, cheap compound polish and a little Mother's Top Coat wax. But it's crazy to me that this old single stage 50-plus-year-old paint can look like glass for next to nothing. I mean, how cool is that? Before and after. Yep. Well, what do you guys think? We're able to go through and take an old junky door like this and make it look like that for just a couple hours of our time, and truly, it was pretty dang easy. Now, one thing I probably should have brought up earlier in the video was, if you have base coat, clear coat, or a nice paint job, probably wouldn't be putting Scotch-Brite or SOS pads to it because you'll just destroy the paint. But, you know, if you've got old patina or something you want to experiment with, I mean, this is a cheap and easy way to make 50-some-year-old paint shine for next to nothing. Well, big shout out to my buddy Jeremy for giving us these doors to, you know, test out and make a YouTube video out of it. It worked out pretty dang good. Well, if you guys haven't, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out our new website, c10trucknerd.com. And if you guys have any other video ideas, type it down in the comments below. I'm always looking for new content, and you know, we're really striving hard to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of this year, which is a definite long shot, but with the help of you guys, you never know what could happen. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. Awesome. I'm proud of myself. Well, check these babies out. You know, I may not have any mechanical skills, but you give me a turd, I'll show you how to polish it.